Hello, horror fan, best friends, and ghoulish knights, and welcome to the 23rd episode of Murders with Mertens. I am your host, Joe, and this is a podcast about horror, dark fantasy, Mike Flanagan, Stephen King adaptations, heavy blue-green color palettes, amazing monologues about death and the afterlife, scary films in general. Each episode, I sit down with the guests and discuss one of their favorite scary films so that we can gush about everything that makes it just so damned cool. Viewers, thank you for the support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you are so inclined. It all helps to get the word out and bring some much-needed love to this fledgling podcast. Roughly 30 subs left until I can get that custom URL. At the moment, that is the only goal that I have for this thing. So help, please. But enough of all that nonsense. Tonight, I have the honor of welcoming one Prince Jackson to talk about the spoops. Prince, how the hell are you?
Oh, shit. We did it.
Yeah, we did.
Finally did it. I'm good. I am good. I am very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I know this has been a long time coming when I first heard of your show and you wanted me on the show, and the stars weren't quite aligning properly, but they have finally aligned and I'm feeling amazing.
Good. As we are recording this, it's just a few days before your birthday, and by the time this does come out,
right.
It will be after your birthday. So happy birthday.
Cheers. Thank you.
Exciting stuff. Prince, it's been just over 3 years since September of 2019 when you put the call out on the internet. Hey, who likes horror movies? I've got something cooking. And I mean,
God, it's been that long.
Yeah.
Wow.
And since then, we got to run down the list here. Just to embarrass you slightly, but also just talk up the amazing accomplishments here. First off, you've recently celebrated 3 years of Nightlight, a horror movie podcast. And that's Night with a what?
That's Night with a K.
Yep, that's right. And you've all been a part of the Bloody Disgusting Network for about a year and a half now. Yeah?
Yeah. Almost 2 years. Oh,
my God. And
just
you've taught seminars on horror. You're appearing in a documentary on mental health and horror. You're involved in the upcoming Dead Space remake. You've been writing screenplays. And let's not forget that you managed to produce an absolutely adorable child while you're at all this.
That is also true.
You've got an amazing list of accomplishments in 3 years here, sir. So,
oh man, it's been a wild 3 years.
Yeah. So congratulations. It's been something, man. But I got to say, you've been a major inspiration for me, finally kicking my ass to do something fun. Something creative. And I definitely appreciate what you, Freddie, and David have accomplished over there with Nightlight. So
thank you.
Thanks for the inspo, for sure.
No, seriously, thank you for being a fan for the show since the beginning. You know, like I don't know too many that I can say that like you were there like before it was day one kind of thing. Like it was just a thought process.
I knew it was cool before it was cool. Yeah.
But no, I love what you're doing too. I mean, the shit you got going on over here with Murders Mertens. I am a huge fan of this show. I think it's a great show, a lot of fun, something I always put on actually while I'm working quite often. So I very much enjoy this show.
Well, thank you for that. Much appreciated. I don't want to waste too much more time because there is some major media podcasting to get into here.
Very true.
Tonight's topic is 2019's Dr. Sleep, written and directed by Mike Flanagan and based on the 2013 novel by Stephen King. Prince, what's your history with this little film here?
Man, this little ditty. It is very vast. This is a film that is, some would say, just a few, just a slight hand, would say that this might be one of my favorite films ever. I've seen this movie countless times. I've seen it 6 times in theaters. And the first time I watched it was at a press screening, and this was before I was even a part of like the horror industry, and I just was so happy to get tickets because I really wanted to see this fucking movie. And I saw this movie, loved it so much. It was coming out that following weekend, so I went that following weekend twice and saw it once by myself, and then I saw it with Freddie the next day after that. I was like, I need to bring him to see this movie. Um, After that, I went the weekend after that, and then I went during the week when I had a day off. And man, I absolute bananas time. But I've seen this movie so many times, and that's just theaters. When the director's cut came out, I've hit close to 40 plus
Oh,
times
Jesus.
with this movie. you know, I love this movie so much, and there's only a handful movies that I've ever done that with to watch it that many times. It's been this, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and I think that might be it. But like this movie, I really, oh no, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's another one as well that I just watched over and over and over
Also
again.
fair.
But
Also fair.
this movie is like, oh,
It's
I
very
think
much
this movie is fucking
feel good
perfect.
horror for sure.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to see some posting on Twitter or something like that for an advanced screening and get a ticket in a little early by a week or two.
Yes.
And this was the stuff. This was the
Yes.
stuff.
Man.
And I
Also the
remember,
last Mike Flanagan movie that's been in theaters.
yeah,
Man.
damn you, Netflix, for being so good to
Oh,
him.
yes, seriously.
Not that he hasn't put out some amazing stuff on Netflix
Oh, amazing
since.
content.
I mean, shout out to Midnight Mass there. Oh my
Oh my
God.
God.
One of my
Yes.
favorite miniseries for sure. But the dude needs to make a feature film at some point.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would love for him to get back into the theatrical scene for sure. I know he wants to. When I spoke with Mike on Nightlight. That was something that he mentioned that he really wants to get back into the theatrical scene. And he has a few things cooking up because when he first did the Midnight Club, he actually thought of that as a movie. He didn't even think of it as a show because he was just going to strictly stick with the Midnight Club from Christopher Pike. Instead, he transitioned the Midnight Club and being kind of like an anthology of a lot of different Christopher Pike books. So it's. I mean, obviously, I can go on and on about Mike Flanagan and his work, but let's stick on. Let's stick
Oh
on task.
yeah. We're definitely a couple of Flanistans here. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just one final question: have you gotten that physical copy of Absentia yet?
I haven't gotten that physical copy of
No.
Ascension yet. Not yet. Not yet. I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
Just
He
checking.
promised it to me. I got his word. So yeah, I'm waiting.
All right, just checking. But yeah, Doctor Sleep. I bought that 4K before I even had anything to play it on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that director's cut, that 3 hours just flies on by. Hopefully the conversation will as well because I don't want to keep you forever. But let's jump on in. We start with this old school WB logo and a fun new heartbeat filled take on the Shining theme as
I love
we
it.
oh it's so good as we zoom from overhead into this RV park. And I assume this is supposed to be sort of like Rose's astral projection scenes later in the film as she's stalking her prey, but who's to say.
Yeah.
We get Violet from the
I like
Haunting
that
of
thought.
Oh yeah. We get Violet from the Haunting of Hill House, stomping out of her family RV in her little pink chucks, and out of her way, everybody. She's got important flower picking shit to do because it's Florida 1980, and she is out to go have some fun. Finds Rose the hat down by the water, and we get the first little hi there, and Rebecca Ferguson. God damn. She's one of my favorite Stephen King horror villains at this point. I gotta say, she.
I think she's definitely number one for me.
Oh my
Definitely number one.
God, she kills it in this film. Absolutely kills it.
Destroys it in this film.
Yes.
God damn.
Yeah. So she sort of lures Violet on in, and she offers her this flower. And do you find it extra creepy that when Rose offers her the flower, she pulls it closer to herself as the little girl reaches for it?
Yes. And
Yeah.
I've always found that to be such a very interesting piece on Rose and how she has this flower, and when she brings it in, tasting it, and like in front of this girl, knowing like, oh, you're not supposed to eat flowers, like oh, you're not supposed to do that, but this one is special.
Yeah, it's the
This is a
special ones that
special
taste the
flower.
best. Um, and
Oh
Prince,
my
you get your glowing eyes.
Oh, I sure do. Oh, and
Oh
boy, do I.
yeah. Yeah.
Boy, do I. I mean, both, I love my glowing eyes. That,
Mhm.
it's something about it for me. It's automatically a point. I don't care if the movie's good. I don't care if it's bad. It's automatically 1 point. Like, you automatically get a one just right off the bat from having glowing eyes in your movie. So it is so well done here that the after effects feel so grounded. Like, it's just, it doesn't look fake. It doesn't look like you're watching a movie, and this movie is showcasing that glow. But with this, like, it's menacing. Also, it's a color I've never seen before done with the glowing eyes. I mean, we get that very stark light blue
Mhm.
that is technically the same color, the coloring of the movie, and what the shade is on this whole film is the whole film is blue, and it's gloomy, and it in some ways, it reminds me of some of my favorite movies, like In the Mouth of Madness and so on and so forth. But like, you get that stark blue that just evokes coldness and um, fear, and it has this chill that it sends right down your spine, and it is just, oh man, it's immaculate. But yes, I 100% get my glowing eyes, and I'm very happy about
Yeah,
it.
you gotta love the typical Mike Flanagan color palette. He's all about the
Oh
blue
my god,
greens, and
loving it.
it shows in this one. Um, yeah, so we get the True Knot swarming in on the little girl, and cut to her mom, trying to find her, and the True Knot, rolling out because they've got their prey there.
Yeah,
And
they're
then,
done.
yep, yep. Violet
I
is
have this question that
Dunzo.
I have to ask as well,
Mm,
because we see that. I mean, later in the film, we get Baseball Boy,
yeah.
right? So with Violet, do you think they just took Violet and killed her on the road, or do you think they killed her right then and there, and
I
then
think they
like
did
just
it on the road. I think they stopped
did it
somewhere
on the
more
road?
secluded because
I
her
think so too.
screams would have drawn too many people there. It was
Yeah,
too close to other people. So yeah, they bagged her and went off to yet another abandoned Lamerica Industries property. Uh,
I agree.
yeah.
I
Um,
agree.
so we shift from here to Dreams of the Overlook Hotel because Danny can't shake that place, and who'd blame him, right? The recreation of The Shining and all of those sets is just freaking masterful.
Oh my
From the
god.
carpet to just
Yes. To the
everything.
sound design, like
Yeah, of the
it
big
was
wheel rolling
flawless.
from the hardwood to the rugs,
Yes.
and yep,
It's
that's
flawless,
that's
flawless. It was
perfect.
so good. I saw someone do a side by side comparison on YouTube, and it's just fucking hell.
Oh, and there's so many
It
shots
really
that are
evoked
just
it.
one for one with the different camera angles and everything as we get deeper into this film.
Yeah,
And Danny rolls on by room 237 in all its glory, and the door slowly opens, and there she is, the lady from the bathtub creeping out of the dark. And that's where Danny snaps awake because that's a good time to do that. And yeah, he's got to pee. So yeah, he stumbles on down the hallway towards the bathroom, and just before he gets to the door, and I don't know why the bathroom door is closed, you know, but of course it is, and he hears a little splash from inside. He reaches out, opens up that door, and we get one of many, many bathtubs with shower curtains in this film.
Yes, we
Anytime
do.
you see a bathtub and a shower curtain, it's drawn
Shower
about
curtains always half
halfway.
drawn.
Yep.
Genius.
Yep. And it might be a reverse shot of it on the other side,
Yep.
but it's still enough of a nod to this thing. And of course, there she is drawing back the curtain. It's the lady from the bathtub in 237. And she steps out, and Danny jumps on back. And she slowly rises up and she steps out, and he manages to close the door and gets halfway down the hallway and can hear her and everything. And, unfortunately pisses himself because, I mean, who can blame him? And the knobs,
scared shit.
Yeah, the knobs creaking back and forth there, and a hand reaches out, and it's Wendy, and she saves the day. Thank God. And Danny's a fucking wreck at this point, thumb sucking and everything. And she takes care of him, puts him back to bed, and she goes to check out that bathroom and finds wet footprints on the rug.
I love how she doesn't really question it though. Like,
No.
I mean, I feel like she knows something's up. Like, she knows that her son has this gift, and he's we didn't mention it yet, but he's given this since he left the Overlook. He hasn't spoken since, and that it's very telling that she knows something is haunting him, but she can't feel like she can help him because he won't tell her anything.
Yeah,
he won't let her act.
She even makes that comment about how you got to talk to me,
right?
But still no dice. And we transition from the shot of the rug to pilings just off the waterfront, and I love how it's all just framed out together. If we hadn't mentioned it already, this film is just visually stunning as well.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And Danny's just having a chat on the bench with the ghost of Dick Halloran. And I gotta say, I've got a huge affinity for Carl Lumbly because of Alias.
Love him.
I love the hell out of him on that show. He was just beyond cool. And his version of Dick Halloran is pretty fucking great. I gotta say,
perfect. Actually,
it's like he's not Scatman Crothers, but you can totally buy him as the character, just like
100%.
What's her butt who's playing Wendy. There's moments in a bit here where she sounds exactly
like Shelley. Holy fucking
when
hell.
she screams Danny. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sounds just like him.
Sounds just like Shelley. Oh, holy shit. Chills. And Alexa So is her name.
Yes. Yeah. She's the lady from House of the Devil, right?
No. Jocelyn Donahue.
Okay. I'm thinking of the mom, Lucy.
Yeah. Okay. Mom.
There we go. Okay. I'm getting them mixed up.
Yeah. But Alexa So is in Starry Eyes. And she's also in Midnight Mass as well.
Yes. So Dick explains that Danny's power was so strong that he made the evil of the hotel real. And then he starts to describe, his experience of dealing with his dead grandfather. And his description sounds like something straight out of Pet Sematary here. And
oh my God, yes.
About how he's, stinking of something on his clothes from the box in the ground. Yeah. Oh, that's
fucking good. Hell. Could you imagine if Carl Lumbly was fucking Jed? Holy shit, dude.
Don't get me wrong. Herman Munster from the Mary Lambert version is just perfect, but
it is perfect. But like, and granted, this movie was technically already remade back in 2019 and it wasn't great, but, or was it 2018? Whatever. Besides the point, it wasn't great, but like, it would have been awesome if Carl Lumbly was Judd. That would have been fucking great.
Absolutely see it. It's at this point that Dick teaches Dan how to fight back against the old ghosts. I also love him calling the bathtub lady an old bitch.
An old bitch, yeah.
Fuck yeah, Dick. Fuck yeah. So he teaches him basically that he's going to, memorize a box and just know it inside and out, know how it smells even. And he'll be able to use those in his mind to trap these things and keep them from harming him. And it's at this point where Wendy's looking for Dan. And she sounds exactly like Shelley Duvall at this point as she's running across the street looking for him. Um, yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. And you know, the thing about this scene that I also really like as well is something that for folks who have not read the book or who just know this work from The Shining and Kubrick's Shining, not McGarris's Shining. Because McGarris's Shining is exactly the book.
Yeah.
But when you have Kubrick's Shining, obviously he goes a little bit off the cuff there and kind of makes his own movie, and he just uses Stephen King as like kind of a prop, which is holy shit, that the balls of that man. But with this particular thing is that, you know, Mike Flanagan figured out the perfect way to bring him back while still being so respectful to Kubrick's Shining as
Mm-hmm.
well. Just a most fantastic way of bringing him back. And to see Dick Hallorann back, like when I was the only one in theater who like lost my shit on when I saw him. And like I'm just like, like, did y'all even watch The Shining? Like, damn, like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was just, it had me do one of those where I was like it's Dick Hallorann. He's fucking back, and he's living in his kid's mind right now. Like, that's dope as shit. Like, that's crazy. He's his guardian angel, and that is
Mm-hmm.
so legit. Like that is like that person held on to him, and I think that is just magnificent. I think that was beautiful. And I think that makes the ending of this movie even more beautiful as well.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. There's so much that mirrors itself as we go along throughout this story, and we'll get there. And now we cut to cartoons and creepy old ladies, and we get the heartbeat part of the score again. And
Oh, shout out to the Newton brothers.
yeah,
God damn.
what they do with some of the original music, we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
But Danny gets up from the cartoons and wanders off, and Wendy kind of looks after him. And the old lady's there just waiting in the bathtub for him. She's ready to go
Yeah.
for round two, except this time, Dan's got a plan. And he shuts that door behind him, and you hear her scream in absolute terror because she's the one getting messed up
Fantastic.
this time. Yes.
She got
And
straight ghost busted.
you know it. You know it. And yeah, what did I say here? Danny locks her wrinkly old ass in a box and goes back to cartoons and finally speaks to his mother.
And finally
Um,
says something. Yep.
yeah. And we immediately from here on out flash forward about 30 years later. Yeah, Dan's waking up yeah,
Ain't
next
doing
to a
too
dead
hot.
girl. Yeah, yeah. I completely forgot to mention that as the end of the prologue here, where the true knot rolls out, we get chapter 1, Old Ghosts.
Old ghost. Yeah.
Yes, and I
God damn.
completely glossed over that. Yes, because of this awesome 6-part chapter structure of this director's cut.
Genius.
Oh, it works
Absolutely
so well
genius.
because it's almost like a 6-part miniseries in condensed film
Right.
form. And
Right.
totally down. Totally down.
Yeah.
It works.
Likewise, very much likewise. Like and the beauty of what you just said, you have a good movie when you don't need to stop it. Like there's been multiple moments where Flanagan was like, if you want to stop here and come back to this later, like I understand this movie is long, and if you want to stop here, that's okay. You can come back later. But and you don't get something like that. Like for example, Endgame, also a 3 hour long movie. You don't get a moment where you're just like, oh, I could pause it here and come back. Like it's like, no, I got to sit through this shit. Like I got to sit
Yeah.
here and not, I'm enjoying it, but like I got to sit here through this. Like I can't just leave. But with Doctor Sleep, he gives us that opportunity, yet we don't want to take it. We want to
Yeah.
finish it. We want to see what the rest of these chapters have to offer. Like I love showing this movie off to people, and my wife has still yet to see this movie, and
Oh,
I've
wow.
been begging her to see this movie because she loves Hill House. Loves Hill House. She is the biggest Hill House fan. And she's watched that show more than me for sure. Like I think probably close to 10 times for her, and like she'll just play it in the background sometimes. And you know, with that particular mindset, like I really want to kind of go in with her in this movie because she has no idea what this movie's even about. She's
Oh,
seen The
jeez.
Shining,
Oh,
but she
jeez.
has no idea what this movie's about. And I really, oh my
She's in
god,
for a treat
one
because
day,
at the end of the
one day,
day, us horror fans, we find stuff that's, generally genuinely creepy in this film,
right?
but it's not really the scariest film either. There's some
No,
truly
it's a
terrifying stuff in here when you really wrap your head around it. But,
true.
yeah, it's
That
like a lot of
baseball game,
Flanagan.
man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit!
But yeah, I get what you're saying about films that don't give you a break or directors that purposefully don't give you a break. Like take David Lynch
Right?
for example, when he
Oh
does
yeah,
a physical release of his stuff, and it's something that he's supervised. He purposefully does not put chapter breaks in there because his
yeah,
feeling is you are supposed to watch a film start to finish. It is one experience. And I understand that too, but man, sometimes you just got to pee. It's
yeah.
sorry. It's some of your movies are long, dude. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, that's kind of a perfect thing with this. There's perfect
Oh my
little breaks, and
god.
it kind of works out to about half an hour or so a piece for a 3 hour
Yeah,
film here.
absolutely.
That works. Um,
Completely agree with that.
so yeah, going back to Dan waking up about 30 years later, and he wakes up to a dead girl and a hangover. He's not in a good way,
As one does.
as one does. Yes, he sees what happened, and he runs to the bathroom and vomits, and he has flashbacks to the prior evening, and you see he's got a bit of a temper like his father. He clocks this dude with a pool ball and gives him the whole "you're gonna take your medicine" thing. We get
Great way to
some.
bring that line back.
Oh yeah, yeah. We get some blow and booze and babies. Because there's a toddler walking around this filthy apartment,
Oh my
and
god.
yeah, it's not good. Uh,
No.
Dan's having a bad time, and this is where Dick shows up again and chastises him a little bit for the situation. He sees Dan's kind of at rock bottom, and he's stealing the money out of this lady's purse. Dan's like, "Yeah, she stole mine, and she bought the blow with it." It's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's not looking too hot.
No, it's really not. And Dick has this great line when Dan tries to use The Shining to sort of block out everything. He's like, "No, no, no. Memories, those are the real ghosts. You're going to take them with you." And yeah, yeah, that shit's going to haunt you forever. Um, and yeah,
The fact that he dipped, like that still destroys me, and I feel like fucking hell, it's just shit, man. This I feel like it was kind of a two-parter here. Like I feel like one, this was paying homage to Train Spotting, Ian
yeah,
McGregor and Train Spotting as well in some ways. I mean, God, this is the first time you see a dead kid inside of a
yeah. This one's not
that
crawling
haunted
on
him
the
in his dream.
ceiling though.
No, this
Um,
one's not, but this one definitely is talking to him.
Oh, yeah. But I think it's kind of perfect that, he does this horrible thing, but the money
Yes,
that he takes is exactly what he needs to get him to where he needs to be in this story.
exactly. Right.
It's the
If he
perfect amount.
didn't do that, he
Yes.
would probably still be in this predicament or more predicaments like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's see here. We cut from Dan dipping on out to, let's see here, Lucy and David putting a young Aberystone to bed. She wants to keep practicing piano, and hey, for a 4 going on 5-year-old, she's pretty good. Gotta
Yeah,
say, it's
yeah, real good.
little bit of a prodigy,
Definitely.
well, she understands, hey, got to go to bed. It's, birthday party tomorrow. It's a big day. So they tuck her in, and then cut to the parents waking up in the middle of the night with some ghostly Graham Nash playing. Yeah. And they
It
go down.
sounds so good. It's so fucking creepy.
Yeah, they go downstairs and they see the Keys playing by themselves.
Fucking
And
hell.
yeah, because basically she's playing the music in her sleep. And
So good.
then fade from here to a movie theater somewhere else where we're introduced to Snakebite Andy. And we get Rose and Crow Daddy. They're having a great time watching her as she works, as she basically lures somebody from a chat room into, she's a pusher, so she can put ideas in people's heads and make them do what they want. She forces this guy to sleep, steals his wallet, and fucks him over big time. But this asshole gets what he deserves.
He fucking needed to get it.
Because he's a creepy pedophile fuck.
Yes. She's supposed to be 15 technically in this moment.
Yes. So he gets what's coming to him, and she books on out of the theater. Crow goes to follow her. Now she's able to stop him with her power.
With ease.
Yes, but not Rose. She tries.
No.
But hi there. Yep.
Yeah. That line, like, oh no, I don't think I will. Like, she says, you want to leave me alone, and she's like, oh no, I don't. Like,
no, they want her.
Chills, fucking chills. God damn.
Yep. And then we pop over to Dan waking up under an overpass because he's a bum now, and that's not good. He's checking to see what's left in his bottle and getting an idea of his surroundings. And we've got the super slow original score with the heartbeat laid over it. And he's going into Tet Transit. This is like one of the first major Dark Tower Easter eggs here.
Yes.
And I love it because, oh my God, Mike Flanagan needs to do a Dark Tower adaptation like yesterday.
He just started a TikTok, right? And in his second TikTok video, we got our girl Kate chilling on the couch doing this TikTok with him, with a fucking Dark Tower book in her hand. I'm like, my guy is hinting this so hard that I feel like it's going to happen eventually, and we shouldn't be surprised when that shit does happen, because it's going to fucking happen. It's going to happen. Don't
get me wrong. I really like Idris as Roland, but that movie is fire,
man. And I'm fine bringing Idris back.
Yeah, because technically the film is canon. That's the sad thing. Oh,
fucking hell.
Just not a good episode of that story. That's all.
No, not at all. Fucking hell. If he doesn't get to do Dark Tower, I would love for him to at least get to do Fairy Tale, the new Stephen King, because Fairy Tale's fucking amazing, and I feel like that would be a really fun one for him to kind of play with, because it's not true horror, but like it has elements of it, and I feel like you would have a lot of fun with that. But
more dark fantasy.
More dark fantasy. Have you read it?
No, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely more dark fantasy, for sure. But a lot of it's a lot of violence in it, though. Like, it's a lot of fucking violence.
Oh, but there's never any of that in Mike Flanagan movies. No, not at all. So yeah, Dan has his last few dollars, and at the Tet Transit bus station is able to buy a one-way ticket to Fraser, New Hampshire. And once again, he has the exact amount of money to get him to where he needs to be. It's almost like his penance for the horrible thing that he did. But we'll find out about that later because, so we cut to Abra's birthday party, and the magician's kind of a dick.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's such an asshole. Such an asshole for no reason. Like, with dude, it's her birthday. You're getting paid to be here. Like, let her fucking spin spoons on her nose.
Yeah,
like,
that's great, sweetie. Yeah,
right.
Just shut the fuck up and let me do my magic.
Right.
And you cut to the parents bringing the cake inside because wow, there's something interesting with the silverware. But before we get to that, I just got to say, God, love those baby boo cabinets. Those are absolute fire.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That kitchen's awesome.
I fucking agree. That kitchen alone was fucking glorious. That whole house is a beautiful fucking house.
They're in the nice part of town for sure. I don't know what mom and dad do for a living. I think he's an author, but
I think so. I think that's what it was.
But holy crap. Yeah. That's a nice ass kitchen.
It's a nice ass kitchen.
Oh yeah. But yeah, mom is staring up at the ceiling because that's where all the spoons are. And Abra pops around the corner and she tells them abracadabra, abracadabra. And it's the cutest thing ever. But
It's
when she
adorable.
sees them looking at her the way they're looking at her, her face falls and she loses it. And the spoons come
And with it
crashing
comes
down.
crashing the spoons.
Yep. And yes,
God
there's
damn.
this reverberation through the force there because it jolts both Dan and Rose, something awful.
Mm-hmm.
And cut to chapter 2, Empty Devils. Here we get Rose seducing Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And it just. Andy's an idiot. I'm sorry. She's got awesome powers, but she's an idiot. She thinks she's in control. No, she's not in
No,
control.
definitely not in control. Definitely not.
Yeah. And we get the eat well, stay young, live long line.
Love that line. Love that
so
line.
Good.
Holy hell.
Yep. And we're kind of cutting back and forth between this whole thing and Dan's arrival and Frasier. He, kind of wanders into the downtown and he finds the park at the town square and he discovers Teeny Town, which is a scale model that was started by children in the town and became a community project. And I love how everything's lined up perfectly so that you see the little buildings and then the, actual buildings that they represent in the background, and everything is perfectly aligned.
Everything is perfectly aligned. I love that. I love this little kind of like little.
It's kind of magic in a way.
Right. Yeah. It's super magical and it's wholesome. Like it's something about it that like it felt safe. Like wherever he was in this moment, it felt warm. It felt safe. It felt like a new beginning. And I love that. I love that for him. But I want to kind of backtrack a little bit and talk a little bit more about these empty devils. The True Knot. Fucking holy hell. I love every ounce of them. I wanted more of them as well. And
they were fleshed out quite a bit more in the book, but
yeah. And and I wanted to know their stories too. Like I didn't just want Snakebite Andy's story. I wanted all of their stories. I wanted Barry the Chunk. I wanted Crow Daddy, Nanny. I wanted all their stories because I feel like their story, especially Grandpa Flick, like the fact that he's been around since Roman era, like, oh my God, like I wanted to know all of their stories and what they actually did. But they're, and so did Mike Flanagan. Mike Flanagan wanted to, bring their stories to life, and just unfortunately this movie didn't financially do well enough for him to get the sequel that he wanted for this, because he wanted to make a True Knot movie.
Yeah, he also wanted to do a Dick Halloran story, and that got shut
right.
down too.
That got shut down too. Yeah. Fucking hell.
It's a shame. Man. He even had his brother playing one of the True Knot there, what's
he
his
did.
name?
Good
Diesel
old Jamie.
Dave or something like that.
Diesel Dave. Yeah. We have Katie Parker as well, our main chameleon for Mike Flanagan.
Yep.
Silent Sari, I believe her name was in this as well. But yeah, we had Jamie playing that as well. I love that, man, dude. It's fantastic. Actually, excuse me, correction. I love them. They them pronouns for Jamie.
Yep. And yeah, just great assortment of Flanagan's regular stable of actors throughout this entire thing.
100%.
Not just the True Knot, but they're everywhere.
Yes. Got Robert Longstreet from fucking Haunted Hill House. Henry Thomas, of course, is in here. He's Lloyd the bartender, and also Jack Torrance. I mean, we got Alex Asso as we saw repeated as well. Carl Strucknian as well. Love that dude. Fucking hell. Like, I mean, it everyone in this thing is just so great, so fantastic. Bruce Greenwood, I can't forget Bruce. As well. Bruce Greenwood. Yeah, I mean, from
very different from Gerald's game. Yeah,
very different from Gerald's game. But yeah, Bruce Greenwood as well. And awesome that we had actually Danny Lloyd in this as well.
I know,
a cameo from Danny Lloyd, so that's always fun.
Well, right about here's where we're introduced to Cliff Curtis, and he needs to be in more stuff because he's one of my favorite bits of Sunshine, the Danny Boyle slasher film, apparently in outer space. It's so fun. It totally turns into a slasher film by the end, though. It's great.
Oh my God.
But he plays Billy Freeman, and he's this guy that picks up on Danny being, somebody who's down on his luck and needs a friend, needs a fresh start. And wow, is he generous, because he helps him find a place to live in a super dope apartment.
It's really nice.
For
It's
85 a week. Yeah. It's super nice.
It's like fucking Hey Arnold's like room nice. Like it's nice. Like that's a nice ass room.
Yup. Yep. And we cut from here to Andy's transformation on the beach. And basically, she gets held down with some steam pumped into her, and she kind of dies a little inside.
Right. It was like a vampire. Like this was very vampiric. And like the whole change in the confirmation, you have to die to be reawakened, and like you said, it wasn't gonna fucking hurt like hell. Like
it doesn't hurt now, does it?
Yeah, exactly. I love that line. Holy crap! But it fucking hell. Yeah, keep going, because
So as she loses it here, Dan wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's getting a visit from a dead girl. And she's like, they haven't found us yet. They were always used to him crying, and they haven't found us yet. And you also get the dead toddler who just, kind of turns towards him and is like, bleh. And it's gross. And this is where Dan, this is where Dan is like, I've got problems. I got to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So
he was like, I got to change.
Yeah. He knocks on Billy's door, and he asks for help, which is awesome, because this sets him on his path for this film. Like, really sets him on his path. He goes to his first 100%. AA meeting, and this is where he meets Dr. John. We get the thing with the watch where, he shakes Dr. John's hand and realizes where his missing watch is and fills him in on that. And, this is where I brings him into his office like the next day or a few days later. And he's like, okay, how'd you know? And they have, a couple of great conversations. One of them being about, hey, do you believe in something? Do you believe, do you go to church? Do you believe in a higher power?
Yeah.
Do you believe in something bigger than yourself? And I'll say, speaking as somebody who's become just increasingly agnostic as he becomes older, especially in the past 20 years, I love Dan's comment about how our beliefs not making us better people, but our actions making us better people. That strikes such a chord.
It's such a resonating line, and I agree with you as someone who's also agnostic as well. I've never did truly like believe in the church, but I've always believed something higher than me was just there. But this line has always been like something that's resonated with me because of the fact that just be a fucking kind person. Just be someone who cares and someone who is understanding, and be willing to learn, that ability to constant learn and take fault for your actions and for any mistakes that you may make along the way, because you're going to make them, but own up to it.
Try to do good. And,
exactly.
And so John offers him a job at the local hospice, and also it's Ullman's office from The Shining. So
that's right.
What the heck?
That's right. It's that also fantastic callback there.
Straight up the same office. And okay.
That was a great.
So here's where Andy wakes up from her little death, and we got some old timey music playing on the radio. And the True Knot, she's basically reintroduced to everybody. She gets a hug from Grandpa Flick and everything. And we get that line that we talked about how, well, you don't hurt now, do you? And then we cut back to the hospice where Dan and Azrael make their first visit as a little tag team. Dan's kindness to this patient is sort of heartbreaking.
Oh,
At first he's like, he doesn't want to be there. He's like, I'm going to go get the doctor. And,
right.
but no, it turns out he's the right person there at the right time. And he helps this person, shuffle off this mortal coil. Right. Um, yeah.
Dr. Sleep.
Also, yeah, Dr. Sleep.
Dr.
And
Sleep.
shout out to him reading a Playgirl that his father was reading in the lobby of
Yes.
of the Overlook. Um,
Yes.
that's
That's
funny.
fantastic.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah, that
Um,
that's really funny.
and this is where Dan comes home from his shift to find a little message on the blackboard in his room. The same
Right.
hello that was on the card that Aber gave her mother. So he's got his little pen pal.
Oh, with the little smiley face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so begins chapter 3, Little Spy. We get Midnight with the Stars and
One of my
You
favorite
playing.
chapters.
Yeah. This is where this movie starts to really kick off into high gear.
Oh, this movie is fucking full throttle right here.
Yeah, we get Midnight with the Stars and You as the camera tracks slowly through the gold room of the Overlook to a glass of whiskey sitting on the empty bar. And it's 8 years later, and Dan's getting his 8-year chip at AA, and he talks about his father. Because he really doesn't know what else to talk about. How he only ever felt connected to him through his anger and his alcoholism, but now he has this new connection because he remembers seeing a chip, probably like a 5-month chip, he says, in his father's hand, and he realizes that his dad tried to be better for him and his mother. And this is something that he's finally been able to accomplish himself. So it's like, here's to Jack Torrance. It's Jesus. It's gotta love the
This
Mike
was
Flanagan monologues.
this was rough. Like hearing him talk about that and how emotional he got while talking about that. Like this being his main father's wish was to get sober. And fuck, dude, like this was such a heartbreaking line for me. And I personally have never struggled with like alcoholism or anything quite like that, but I've known people who have and who've tried going through AA and who have also made it out quite successfully out of AA and is going on their 10-year chips and things like that right now. And hearing this story of how it's a family trauma that's passed down that almost felt like family tradition versus trauma
Oof.
is just it's just a fucking gut punch. Absolute gut punch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's intense. But at the end of it all, you do feel his happiness, that he's
Yes.
in a good place,
Yeah.
finally. And he's got friends, he's got a decent life, he feels like he's doing good work. That's that's cool. And cut to him, doing his rounds as Dr. Sleep again. Um, and we get the wonderful, we don't end line, and he sings Come Fly With Me along with
Yeah.
this dying patient. It's really sweet. And we
Blueberry
learn.
pie.
Yep. We learn at this point that Dan's been talking back and forth with Aber all this time over these 8 years.
Right.
And
I do want to mention something really quick before you continue. There's in that scene when he is having this moment with this gentleman, this is the moment where I feel like you truly start to understand Dan's powers in this moment because of the fact that he's doing multiple things. He's hosting a shared experience with this gentleman, like literally pulling out memory facts from this guy's life, bringing them back to each other so they can experience them together so he doesn't have to experience them by himself. And on top of that, he also pushes information into his brain that allows him to taste that memory and to smell that memory to bring that experience even further. Like he's doing what Rose does, what Andy does, and what Crow does as well. He's doing literally everything that these three people have to do separately. And he's doing it by himself in the most not mundane, but in the most
it's old hat for him.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's funny how he likes to play it off to Abra like he's not that powerful. He's not that special. No.
Right.
It's I don't know, man.
It's like, nah, dude, I don't know, man. I think you sound pretty damn powerful and special to me.
We get comments from Rose about all that much later on in the film too. But yeah, he helps this guy transition and goes home to more messages from Abra, and we cut to Crow and Rose talking about tracking down a new little snack. And let's see here. Oh yeah, there's this little dig that he makes at Netflix. Because about how I don't know if it's all the TV signals or Netflix or what, and it's like
that was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
Okay.
And then Mike Flanagan fucking works for Netflix now.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
So Crow's basically begging for Rose to release a canister of steam because they're all kind of starving, and how he's trying to play off that we're gonna need that so that we can track this guy down. And she relents and
almost an addiction.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And she feeds them all, and I don't think she even takes any steam in the scene herself. She just feeds them. And
very motherly here.
Oh
right?
yes,
like this is very much like a motherly type of thing that I portrayed in this moment from her, where she very much feels that like, oh, I'm feeding my children. Like my children deserve to eat before me, even though I've tried to kind of put my foot down a little bit and show, but my children are the ones who need me right now. So she's feeding them when she's just like, I'll eat after they're done. I'll take the scraps or I'll take the leftovers or whatever kind of thing. But yeah, it's quite miraculous, and how they feed is quite great. Like they're very animalistic. After Grandpa Flick gets his little whiff in, and then everyone's like, all right, no, let's fucking go. Like, let's start getting some. But
it's also very sexual in the way that they take the steam.
Absolutely. Reminds me of Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that club scene in Blade when everyone's sharing the blood.
Yep. They got the sprinklers with the blood. Yep. That's a pull.
My mind goes all over the place, Joe. You know.
Yeah. Oh, I do. So yeah, we cut from here to Baseball Boy. And check out Danny Lloyd and his buddy in the crowd talking about this kid. Nice little cameo there. But they found him. They found him all right, and it's like he almost knows where the pitcher's going to throw the ball. And of course he's number 19 because it's Stephen King, and it's the number 19's got to be in there somewhere.
Has to be there.
Yup. And we get, this might be the first line delivery from Robert Longstreet in this film. Cause here he is hanging out the side of the van. Hey, number 19. Yeah. Oh, and it's so creepy, and it's such a child molester van.
Yes. Fucking hell.
And
my thing is like, why is this kid going to this game by himself? Like, we're like that broke my heart that one, his parents didn't really go to this game with him, and like that. I was like, that sucks. This kid has to walk home in this fucking Chainsaw Massacre highway.
Yes, it's the middle of nowhere in Iowa. He probably lives just a couple of properties down, and it's probably the type of area where you don't lock your doors at night and all that fun stuff. It's
exactly,
which is awful.
Lock your doors,
because
just don't do that. Lock your fucking doors. I don't give a shit where you live. Lock them. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of awful because of course they're preying on kids in these types of areas
because they won't fight back, right? Or they'll try to fight back, but you're just gonna have so many Home Alone situations that you're gonna be. Not everyone's a Kevin McAllister. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of them are testing their luck here. But you're right.
Yeah.
They do prey on children and mainly children. We the only incident that we know where they preyed on I guess an adult was the story of Grandpa Flick as he's going through cycles, right?
Mhm.
Where Rose mentioned that he fed off kings and things like that, and saw empires fall and crumble,
Mhm.
and where we get this moment where them preying on children because their mind, one, is not as, I guess, convoluted, because we learn as the older they get, the more convoluted the mind gets, therefore their steam blocks even more as they get
Mhm.
older. But hey.
Yeah. And shout out to the kid playing number 19, of course. Was it
Yeah,
Jacob
Jacob Tremblay,
Tremblay from
looking
Room
great.
and, of course, Before I Wake.
Luca as
Uh,
well. Before I
yeah.
Wake, yes,
Yep.
that's right.
Yeah.
This kid's great. This
Oh,
kid's
yeah.
fucking great. Like I picture him being like, he was in Good Boys as well. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
he's like 16 now, but like I picture him being like the next Timothy Chalamet for sure. Like this kid's fucking great.
I could see it and would love to see him go on to do more Mike Flanagan stuff. And I'm sure he will because,
I'm sure he will.
they all have contracts inked in blood. Um, Andy entices the kid into the van, pushing him essentially, and off they go. And
She's so fucking creepy when she does
oh
this. Like
god,
she comes in not even
you
like a snake,
want
but more like a
yeah,
fucking spider. Like god damn it, she's so creepy. Holy
yep.
shit.
Yep. So they get him to come along and they torture and bleed this kid in spectacular fashion. What did I say here? Feeding on his steam with orgasmic glee because that's
Yep.
exactly what it looks like. And just Rose's line about, when he asks if they're going to hurt him.
Yes. Oh fucking
Yeah.
hell.
And this is where Abra starts to pick up on what's happening because, his, um, you know,
Such a
reaction
long
is just
scene.
reverberating, throughout, I guess The Shining, for lack
Right.
of a better term. Because at this point, The Shining is kind of like the Force, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, oof, it is bloody and
It is
just
such a long
so
scene.
much worse than the theatrical version
Oh my
in
god,
all the
tell me
best
about it.
ways. Um,
Yes,
but yeah, and
it
Abra
is
is
holy
not
shit.
having it. At first, she's just kind of observing, and then
Right.
she's essentially feeling what this kid is feeling,
Right.
and she's losing her shit. Her parents are running in, and this is where she basically breaks Dan's blackboard, and he falls out of bed when all this happened, and
Seeing it through
sees
the
in the
mirror.
mirror, yeah,
Yeah.
red rum. And of
Yeah.
course, it says murder on the wall itself. Oh, it's so good.
So
Um,
fucking good.
so he
So fucking
gets,
good.
yeah, he gets up, walks over, and writes "who" on the blackboard. And we cut back to the knot, getting their last bit of steam out of this kid, and they're like pushing on his chest, driving it out. It's they're trying to get that last bit of toothpaste out of the tube
Right.
here. Um,
Exactly.
ugh.
As she wishes that he had a little bit more fight in him.
Yeah. Doesn't she say
Y-
like I thought we could have at least gotten a couple more hours out of him or something
yeah.
like that?
Or yeah, a couple more minutes. Yeah, she
God.
wanted him to feel the pain because pain drives
Yeah.
steam and purifies steam.
Purifies. Yeah.
And, yeah, and
Ah.
with that mindset and just the way that Jacob Tremblay fucking acts in this role. Oh my
You
god. Like
believe the
you
pain. You
believe
believe the terror.
every
Yeah.
ounce of pain that he's in right there. And
Hmm.
that is something incredible. And supposedly it was even longer than this director's cut version that we got as well. And Stephen King told him, was like, dude, you got to pull that back. Like that shit is brutal. Like you got to pull that back. Like,
Yeah,
you
and he's
gotta
not
pull that
one
shit
known for being
back.
squeamish in any way. And
No, dude,
also,
oh my
yeah.
god! In The Outsider, he has a fucking brutal ass like getting killed scene
Oh
with a
yeah.
fucking stick. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, and it's brutal as shit, and it's heinous as shit too. And
Hmm.
for him to say like, you gotta pull this kid getting stabbed back is that fucking hell. Like that, that takes a lot.
Yeah. And also shout out to Kylie Curran here, because we're not giving her
Yes.
enough credit for her acting
I
in this
love
scene as
Kylie.
well, because
She's coming
she is
back.
yeah, Usher,
She's
right?
coming back. She's coming back in Usher. Same with Carl Lumbly as well. This is the first
Nice.
time they got to see each other back together since Doctor Sleep. So Kylie Kieran's back in Usher, and so is Carl Lumbly as well. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited for that as well.
Yeah, nice. Well, Abra is absolutely broken by this connection that she just made. Her parents have no idea what's going on, but she is absolutely lost it.
She's livid. She's
Yep.
gone at this moment.
And we cut back.
Uncontrollable even.
Yeah. And we cut back to Iowa, and Crow and Rose are burying the body in a very shallow grave and talking about
like spent like 5 minutes digging that hole.
oh yeah. Yeah, it's next
It's
to
just like,
nothing.
whatever.
I mean,
Like,
thank God it's an abandoned ethanol processing plant. But yeah, and they're talking about how they had a looker, somebody that was watching while all this was happening. And let's see here. We get another bathtub shot as Dan is walking around his apartment, and he's like, asking her questions and so on. And this is where he finally says, your friend Dan.
right.
And finally, after 8 years, introduces himself to Abra. And, she comes downstairs like, hey, I made a new friend. And mom is very concerned because of everything that happened the night before. And Abra's like, hey, got to go to school. Bye. And so she's sitting there in the computer lab and basically listening in on the thoughts of all of her classmates, just being a total creep. And we get that girl looking back at her. Why is the freak looking at me? And it's like, yeah, you're making these people freaked out. Stop it already.
You're staring at everybody just peeking in their brains, like no privacy at all.
Yep. So totally get some of those reactions, but also that girl's just, a little shit. But yeah.
Is.
So she's spending her time in computer lab there, researching missing children, and she finds the kid. And I love how it's like the next day, and all of a sudden this kid's a missing person already. But we'll hand wave that away. But she, gets a printout and runs home, and dad's working on his book. She's like, yeah, that's nice. I'm going to go get started on my homework. And he's like, thank Harvard in 3 years. And she's like, yeah, we'll see. And he's like,
we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. He's such a dad. I love that.
Oh my God. I love it.
I love the dad.
I'm a huge fan of Dave Stone, and I'm glad he had a nice decent role in this movie. Like, I'm glad he was very present in this movie, a lot more present than Lucy.
Because there's a moment in a few scenes where she's like, peace, and she's gone for the rest of the movie till the end.
The rest of the movie to the end. And the reason why I find this so important is a lot of folks, I've mentioned this in one of my seminars as well that I gave for the deconstruction of the black horror trope, and what I specifically have mentioned in this moment on why this is so important that he's so present in this movie is because as a black kid, that is the ongoing joke, right? Like, oh, your father's not around and blah blah blah, like at least my dad's here and all this whole other bullshit as being black, like that is a stereotypical joke. And I found that to be so important to have him very present in this movie and to be the main factor for Abra in this movie. And I thought that was magnificent. I thought that was great to have him as present. It sucked that sure he dies, but but like at the same time, it was so warranted because he was trying to protect his daughter. Right, like
it's less like the sacrificial black man trope, but you know. And also
Right.
shout out to just, this is a kid who ultimately, you know, isn't described as any particular race in the book.
No.
And, you know, they just, hey, let's make her this cool biracial character. And also,
Right.
let's just not even draw attention to it. Just
Yeah.
let it
No.
be.
It's just let it
And
be.
it's so
It's just normal.
perfect.
And it's great. It's
So
great.
let's,
It's
let's
fucking
just
great.
find some cool actors who are doing cool shit and
Yep.
just let it play. And it's so perfect. It's so perfect.
So great. It's so great. And you know, and Zachary Momo is fantastic. He's a British Nigerian actor, and he's so fantastic to me. He was in Harriet as well, and he was also really, really good in Harriet. He has a nice portraying role in that film as well. But he's not in enough stuff. Like, I feel like he should be in so much fucking more, but like hopefully he gets his due because I find
Yeah.
him to be fantastic. I just
But
think Zachary Momo's great.
that's the plight of the character actor too, you know. It's
Right, exactly.
yeah, but you know, maybe someday he'll get a good breakout and
Maybe.
yeah, you never
Maybe.
know.
You never know.
So yeah, Abra goes upstairs from here and yeah, she's doing her homework all right. She's doing some psychic research with the printout and this is where she kind of sees the true knot as they came into that facility and as they left.
Right.
And as she's viewing all this, she's auto writing, which is super cool.
It's super cool. It's fucking creepy as shit.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we get another Dark Tower Easter egg with Lamerica Industries.
That's right.
Yep. And this is where she decides, okay, I could do that. What else can I do? She goes to the window and she projects herself into Rose, but we get this cool little gravity defying movement as
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool. It's almost like a music video. Like if she was just singing and floating, like we wouldn't make anything of it. You know, like Vitamin C in Graduation or some shit. But like it's
I was thinking Virtual Insanity, but you know, whatever.
That works too. But you know, it's great. It's great. It's like I love this scene so much, and I do love when she is kind of piecing back on how they were to go there, and you get like the bone cracking noise of how it turns the fucking hell. It's so good. It's I know a lot of people who find bone cracking to be very tiresome in horror. I fucking love it, but like this was a great way to refresh that, to make it seem like they're all just one joint together. They're just all one thing, and they are all moving in synchronous, and they are harmony. Initially, they are harmonious as they move, which causes them to be one functioning organ or body, whatever body part, whatever you want to call it, that has this cracking motion as they turn their card. Oh my fucking god, I love it. I love it so much. I get giddy with that shit, man.
As well you should. So yeah, Abra is able to project herself into Rose in the grocery store or wherever she's at. And Rose right away can tell that something's not quite right. Kind of feels that she's being observed. And as she goes up to a reflective surface, really understands what's happening. It's the looker again. And we get that perfect gif of, well, hi there. And the hand coming.
Oh, that reach back.
Yeah.
Holy fucking hell.
Yep. And Abra's not having that. Abra's like, get out of my head with such force.
Oh my god.
Holy
Darth
crap.
Vader ain't got shit on Abra.
Nope. Rose gets flung halfway across that grocery store, and it is glorious.
It is fantastic. Makes her nose bleed too.
Yes, and like Dan's, because Dan feels this too.
Right.
He passes out at AA, and apparently as he was passing out, he was calling out to Tony for help.
To Tony, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay.
Red Rob.
Yes. Also, I'm glad they didn't bring the finger back in this one.
I'm so glad that they did bring the finger back. I'm very happy that they did.
It's very much part of Danny Lloyd's portrayal of Danny Torrance.
Right.
but we don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, we're done with that.
Yep.
I'm glad that we had Tony, but yeah, I'm happy we didn't bring back the finger.
Yeah. So now at this point, Rose is obsessed with finding Abra, and she's hatching a plan on how to essentially use her as livestock.
Right.
And I love the line of, I fucking want her.
Yes.
You know, no other
So much vigor.
considerations. I don't give a shit about any of you. I want her.
Yes. And the conviction that you hear there, and Crow being legitimately scared.
Mhm.
And it feels like this is the first time in fucking eons he's been afraid. And he's legitimately scared.
very
Like
concerned.
he's like, are you sure we should be like, I feel like we need to have her on our team. Like, we can't eat this person. Like, we need to have this person with us.
Well, I think Rose is in some ways a little bit jealous and a little bit threatened by her.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Oh my God. And the fact that we have Rose being this factor of this being, of whatever the fuck she is. And we have Rose, or excuse me, Abra, being this very large contender. Like, this is like fucking Mike Tyson versus Holyfield right now. Someone is trying to play dirty somewhere. It's like 1996 all over again.
So yeah, cut from here right to chapter 4, Turn World. Abra fakes out her mom and grabs a bus to Frasier and super creepily tracks down Dan. Gives him a little psychic hi.
He's like, don't fucking do that. Like, like don't do that right here. Like,
first he sees this young teen standing at the sidewalk there, staring at him with a creepy smile on her face. Sure. And of course, when he turns around, that's when he gets the high inside of his head. And Dan's like, hey, I'm taking a break. And Billy sees her, or sees him walking off with her. And the look on his face is like, what the fuck, Dan?
It's like, I love how she like comes up with it like immediately. She's like, you're my uncle. Like, which is great, because it's just like, well, I mean, her mom is white, so like that could be a thing. Like, that could definitely be a thing.
Yep. It's
Uncle
a shame
Dan.
that they didn't actually play into the fact that he actually is her uncle.
Her uncle, yeah, like in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's just a little bit too much backstory for an already very full film.
It's a very convoluted film, so
I understand. So yes, if anybody is concerned, you're my Uncle Dan. And okay. So Abra wants Dan to go, check out the baseball boy's glove. This is after they have a little conversation about what The Shining is and all that to them. She always describes it as being magic, and to him it's more just how things are, I guess. But she wants him to go find baseball boy's glove because Barry the Chunk was wearing it, so she feels that she'll have more of a connection to finding these people and stopping them. And he's concerned for her. But I think
he's legit like scared for her.
Yeah, but I think he's also just more than a little bit concerned for himself, because he's been able to keep his head down for so long. And he tells her to do the same, keep her head down. And he remembers how his mother, he actually has a flashback here of his mother treating him kind of differently, and how she's thinking about, his dad and so on. And unfortunately, we don't find out quite yet what happened following this scene, but that will come up later. But Dan's concerned for Abra and tells her, hey, no, you need to go, and you need to forget about this and keep your head down.
Keep your head down. Do not provoke these people. Like,
yes, they are dangerous.
Because he's never had to deal with anything quite like this before.
No, just sort of his own personal demons, but he's never had anything really supernatural that's been other than, the old ghost from the Overlook that he's had to deal with. So, yeah. This is where we cut back to the hospice, and Dick returns.
Yes.
Azrael enters what Dan thinks is an empty room, and this is such a great scene.
Love the scene.
Dan walks in there thinking that Dick is just yet another ghost from the Overlook, and he just
Ready
about
to-
throws him in a box.
Yep. It's like, whoa, Danny.
Yeah.
Hold on there, Doc.
And they have this fun conversation about I forget the character's name, but it's the guy with the tumbler and the bleeding head who's like,
yeah,
nice
like,
party, isn't
nice
it?
Nice party.
With a shit-eating grin on his face, he says, and he's really smiling when I threw him in a box. And this is where Dick tries to convince Dan to help Abra. And I popped so hard in the theater for the "Ka is a wheel" line. And I don't know that anybody else in my theater did. It was that sad. But yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I love Dick's line about how they eat screams and drink pain.
Oh my fucking God. This whole thing was just written poetry. It was just absolutely poetry, and his delivery is fucking flawless here. It was like, they eat screams, they drink pain, and I'm just like, and you feel like it's like a fucking emotional jab to your heart, where you're just dude, you should fucking help her. Like,
and he's telling her, it's only fair that you help her because you owe a debt. It's like, you came into my kitchen and fucked my world up, and I helped you. Now it's your turn to help her.
Yes.
So he's like, this is the last time you're going to see me because it hurts to be here. And that was really sad.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of Dick having to endure a ton of pain just to visit Danny, but apparently that's the case.
Yeah, that hurt me a lot too. I was just like, oh man, I didn't like it. He never like made it seem like it did hurt him to be there, but yeah, no, it fucking does. It hurt him. It hurts him to be there. I'm actually pretty disappointed that no one got the Ka reference in your theater. Like that.
I guess there weren't huge Stephen King fans going to a Stephen King movie in a pre-release screening.
But like, that's in so many Stephen King projects. Like that's in The Outsiders. It's in Dark Tower. I mean, all of Dark Tower, really. The fucking Tommyknockers. Like that's in like that's very apparent. And like it shows up fucking everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, well, Dark Tower has ties to basically half of the stuff that he has written.
Right. Very true.
It's just a real shame, but
neither nor here or there. My theater, luckily, they went pretty. Like, it was a lot of like kind of moments in there. So
there are plenty of real ones in that theater. Okay, I see how it is. But I guess we also neglected to mention here that when Abra gave that push to get Rose out of her head, she created a bit of an earthquake in New Hampshire.
That's right.
Because here's where Crow barges into Rose's trailer with his findings of said earthquake, and he's like,
you see this shit?
Yeah.
You want us to fucking fight this thing?
Yeah. He's a little concerned that
very concerned.
This person has so much power, and Rose is reading that the total opposite way. Oh, now I have a street.
It's a fucking whale.
I know where to go now. And he's like,
right.
Wait, that's not what I.
That's not what I brought this in here for you to see that for. Like, no, I want you to be on the same page as like, I'm fucking scared. Like, like, oh.
So yes, Rose has plans for that evening then, and we cut to Lucy saying goodnight to Abra. She's gonna boogie on out in the morning to go visit her ailing mother and removing herself from the plot. It was a much bigger plot point in the book. I remember how Yeah, Momo was sick with cancer, and
Yep.
it was a whole thing.
Yeah, the whole
Um,
thing. I think she was. I think Jocelyn actually was pretty busy with off season during that time. The film Off Season by Mickey Keaton.
okay,
So I think she was off filming that as well in Intrium with this. So yeah.
gotcha. But yeah, so she pieces out, and this is where Rose does her astral projection, and the scene is
Oh,
awesome, where she flies
cool!
up into the sky and
Holy hell! You hear the deep breaths.
oh,
You hear the heart. You hear the wind
mhm.
softly combing through the sky. Oh my
Just the
gosh.
camera movements all around her, and how
Beautiful.
she, the heartbeat continues to increase in its pace, and she touches down in her bare feet on the street, and then
Oh,
floats on up to the window, and just the camera is just turning all around throughout all of this, and it's
fucking hell. The only
yeah.
other time I've seen him use that kind of camera trick and camera work was in Hush. And
Okay.
I was very, very excited to see that brought back in here. I fucking screamed like a like no other in that theater when that happens. Like it's like Hush, like the fuck. Yeah, so like it's fucking hell. I love every aspect of what's happening right now. This movie's
Yep.
goddamn perfect. You know what I'm saying, everybody? Like this movie's fucking perfect. Like I will not say a bad thing about this movie because I just can't find anything.
It's very difficult. Yes. Rose touches down in Abra's bedroom and sees her in her bed, and she's like, "Well, hi there."
Ugh,
And she turns around and sees basically all of Abra's files, basically her memory. She's inside of
her
Abra's
mind,
head
I
here,
guess.
and she's like, "Oh, you rubes," and you put all your stuff in little boxes and blah blah blah, and
Hers being
yeah,
a library.
yes, yeah. Her mind is a cathedral. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and she turns her back on Abra and starts digging through the files. And then
Very
this
calmly.
oh yeah, she's in charge, right? Except no, because we get the spotlight from above and she is frozen in place and the drawer slams shut on her hand because this has
Fucking
all
hell.
been a trap.
Oh,
Um yeah.
bring in the
Yeah.
half degloving scene.
Yep. Yep, because Abra, who has kind of taken on the persona of somebody from one of
It
the
was,
anime that she
yeah, it was one of the,
loves.
I think it was from Ruby. It
Yeah, I
was
know she's got
supposed
the
to be
Ruby
from Ruby.
poster on the wall.
Yeah.
Yep, but yeah, she's basically concealing her appearance, which is smart, and
Yes.
using this as an opportunity to dig through Rose's files.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose, in an effort to escape, does the degloving because
Yep.
that's what you do in a Mike Flanagan property. You tear the skin off of your hand. Um,
With her saying
and
one of my favorite lines, "You're just a fucking child," and it was just like like veracity you hear in
yes, you
that
know.
voice, and exactly, and it's just like, but at the same time, this child's winning. Like this child is fucking Kevin McAllister because like she is goddamn smart, and if she wouldn't have went inside and pushed further ahead of time, she wouldn't have had gotten the idea to cover her identity because her doing that, she's like, oh, she could see me. Like she can actually legit see me in these situations. She just can't see me that well. So if she's going to be in my mind, and I want her to come here because I'm at home advantage here. If she's going to come in my mind, I need to be completely unrecognizable as much as possible. She did the oscillating in her voice, and we kind of had the double
Mhm.
voiceover and things like that. It was fucking glorious. And we have Rose the Hat trying to come in like she was fucking Freddy Krueger, and she got fucking Dream Warrior. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, she's even after she manages to rip herself free, her feet are sticking to the floor and it's
yes,
ripping skin off of her feet.
it's great.
And she finally gets herself free, but with so much force that she's flung
She
halfway across the country.
shoots her body off.
Yep,
God
knocks her
damn.
body right off of the RV. Um, yeah, she fall down, go boom. Um, big time.
Big
And
time.
Oh, she's pissed. So pissed. And this is where Robert Longstreet runs in to let everybody know that Grandpa Flick is cycling.
Right.
And Abra is sending out a blast to Dan, telling him about her exploits at this time. And
Excitedly.
She's
like, got her, Uncle Dan.
super geeked about all of this. And, basically we got the two planes of action at this point. We got her talking to Dan and Grandpa Flick dying finally.
Yeah,
and
we got Lurch going through his stuff.
Yup. And as he finally dies, they basically eat his steam like a pack of hungry dogs.
Oh my God. Yeah, that must have been some delicious steam.
The part where he finally finishes his cycle and his body just dissipates into steam. They stand
with his
there
eyes like shimmering a little bit.
They all stand there for just a beat. Yep. And then they all descend at once.
Yeah.
Just
enough for his eyes to disappear. Like completely. Just so like it was just like, okay, we don't want you to watch what we're gonna do to your steam next. Even though he's giving himself to them, right? Like,
yeah.
We get that quick monologue from Rose as well in this moment to kind of cheer him up, even though she's in so much fucking pain. And now she has this emotional pain on top of already the emotions and physical pain that she's already experienced. And her in this moment letting him know that like all of these heinous accomplishments that he's gone to, eating kings and watching empires fall and things like that, it was interesting. It was super interesting because like if we have the concept of like eat well, live long, fucking hell, like how old?
Well, it's like she tells Andy, it's like, in 10 years you'll still be 15, in 100 maybe 17, and she spells it out. You're not going to live forever. You're going to live long, but
which is enough. Like like long lives are enough, and I'm sure you can get quite bored if you live that long. But it's interesting because like the fact that they had this sense of family and this sense of community that allowed them to really, be connected. And I was very curious because we have that mention of by Dan when he first meets Abra and he tells her like, no, these people are connected. Like these people know people. Like don't fuck with them. Like leave them alone. Like I was very curious. Like how connected are they truly? Like do they actually have these connections or are they just?
Well, we get a comment about the NSA later, so
that is true. That is true. So
yeah,
it's very very interesting.
Yeah. So basically, Abra has convinced Dan, hey, you got to go get this glove. We got to make something happen. And he goes downstairs and wakes up Billy and decides to tell him everything. And now it's time for a road trip to Iowa. And, in the morning, Abra tags along psychically. She tries to show Dan how she got into Rose's head and nearly runs them off the road. And it's at this moment where she finally gets a glimpse of what happened at the Overlook.
Yes.
And Dan's like, no, you need to stay out of there. You do not need to be in any way involved with any of that. And she also sees the long line of boxes of all those old ghosts. And he's like, nope, not going to talk about it.
Out of there.
You're going to stay out. You do not belong.
And she respectfully agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which she's like, okay. Yeah.
Yep. And
she knows whatever that was fucking hurt him bad.
Yeah. This is something, if he's ever going to talk about it, he will bring it up. But for the time being, you're going to go to school and they're going to go to Iowa. And we cut back to Rose and Crow. They're finalizing their plans for catching Abra. And Dan and Billy, they find the Limerick Industries refinery. Yep. And Abra pops back in, tells him to pull around back, and they started digging. And it's not good. It's not good. Yeah, we get the story of how Billy used to be a hunter and how he clipped a deer and it got away from him, and he tracked it for a couple of days and lost it. Went out again, like the next week or whatever, and found the most horrible stench. And it was that deer that had managed to wedge itself into a hollowed out tree trunk. And after that point, he never touched it again. He never went out again. And he says, this is the same smell. Yeah. And there's little bits of the kid poking through the dirt.
Yeah, like his finger and
and he fucking tip of his Converse.
He hits the finger and and they can't stomach it.
Yeah, and Billy's blowing chunks and
because this has only been a few days at this point. Like that's the thing that like it feels like it's been weeks. But no, it's been a few days. Like fucking
time's kind of all over the place fast. In this movie, to be fair. But
that's fair. That's super fair. Yeah.
But also, the smell. So they get the glove and they drive off, and Billy's kind of broken. And,
Billy. It's like, and I love that Dan like realizes that too, right? Where like he's just like you should go home. Or like not even you should go home. He was just like, Billy's on for the fucking ride.
Billy's ride or die for Dan.
He's just like let's fucking.
He's a very good friend. In fact, I think in the book he actually makes it through the whole thing.
Oh really?
I could be wrong.
I don't remember. I haven't read that book in so long.
I could swear that he makes it to Colorado with them.
Was this the book came out in
2013?
13, that's right. Yeah, that was when I read it, and I do not remember it. Yeah,
I certainly remember the movie better than I do the book, but
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
now we're in chapter 5, parlor tricks.
Oh man,
yeah, this is where stuff really, really starts kicking off into high gear. Dan convinces Abra to tell her folks everything. And she doesn't want to because she, just finally got them to, think of her as just a normal kid. And this is going to make everything blow up. But he's like, hey, they got to know. They're coming for you. They're going to be in the way. They're going to tear through them like, tissue paper. And so she pieces out to go talk to them. And he's like, hey, Billy, still got those deer rifles? And they finally get back to New Hampshire, and Dave Stone not so pleased with Uncle Dan.
Cannot blame him.
No, he comes charging out of that house like a dad should in that sense. Yep, absolutely. Totally normal reaction to finding out your teenage daughter's been talking to someone in their mid 40s.
Yes. If a dad's not reacting that way, that ain't a good daddy.
Nope.
But hell, like that was great. That was great. And the differences in like the book to here, like this is where it really showcases a lot. Cause I mean, the book is very different from this movie, I feel like. Cause like, isn't it like when they kill Brad, they like contract measles or something?
Yes.
And I think they're like
there's a bunch of the True Knot that are dying off.
Right. And Abra, like they believe Abra is the one who can cure them, but from her steam or something like that. So like it's very interesting how we have this these differences here. But like this is where the differences really showcase, because like he's supposed to be her actual uncle, and I love this whole concept. You're like, oh, you're Uncle Dan, like, and like Dan's like, fucking show him, please, like get the fuck down.
Oh, and she gives her dad the worst zinger, and he's like doubled over in pain on the driveway.
Oh my god.
And they go back inside, and she's like, hey, I didn't want to have to do this. And she shows him everything. And it's time for a morning scotch.
With shaky hands.
Yes. Oh, he's absolutely broken by everything he's witnessed, and rightfully so. And he offers some to Dan and Billy, and they're like, we're good.
Nope.
We're good. And it's time for her to actually use the glove and get answers. And she is basically sitting inside of the van, the same van they picked up the baseball boy in. and she can see basically it's everybody but Rose, and they're coming. They're probably in Massachusetts, she thinks. They're on I-95, she says. So, yeah, pretty observant. That's cool. So let's see here. They cut to them checking out Abra's bedroom. They're like, so this is the only room of the house that they saw, right? You
Right.
sure? She's like, yeah, I made a bunch of changes. And of course, there's this plastic dog and a great big capital A that spell out Ka above her bed. Love it.
So
and so they split up. Our heroes go to a secluded park, and Abra sets herself up as bait with Billy and Dan as Overwatch. And the knot pulls up in their RV, which in first viewing, I didn't notice, in that when she was viewing them, they were in the van, but they pull up in the RV. And okay, so if you're not paying attention to all that, you'll find out soon. So Andy approaches Abra, and Abra plays along with the pushing, and she steps up to her and jabs her in the neck with a needle, and she's like, yeah, you ain't shit, and then turns around and it's just the stuffed bunny.
It's just a stuffed bunny. Oh my god. And I love her reaction. She's like, what the fuck?
And Longstreet's like, parlor tricks, just fucking parlor tricks. And then he takes a shot in the neck or something.
With the most amazing like drop too. Like it's such a visceral drop, but it's a like you felt that bullet. Like the way he falls, but like he stammers. He doesn't like fall over or fall to the ground. He's like,
he takes another. He takes a hit to the head. Then
he takes a round in the head after that,
right in the forehead. Dan and Billy.
Stephen King loves his gunfights.
Oh yeah. Oh, and it's quite the shootout too. I love how everybody in the knot's got a handgun.
Everybody's packing, and everyone's not, they're not punks. They're firing back for sure.
Yeah, so a great little shootout here, and Andy takes her around, and she's stumbling, and I forget who helps her get up and get towards the RV, but they get hit and go down, and she manages to get inside. Basically, Dan and Billy are able to take everybody out from the cover of just a couple of trees. It's very, very lucky, it seems. And Dan approaches the RV and sees Andy, and he goes to take a shot. He's out. And as he's trying to reload, she takes that
Short
moment
Eddie. That's who it was. Short Eddie was helping her. Yeah. And he gets shot in the back. We didn't even mention that Rose is also
in pain.
She's in absolute
pain.
Guttural pain, her whole family just leaving her lifespan. Like it's just fucking hell.
Yeah, because
one of the most fantastic no's you'll ever hear in cinema.
Oh yeah. Yes, because they can't be untied, right? Yep. So Andy comes out and pushes Dan, basically freezes him, tries to get him to sleep, has a not good time doing that. Finally gets him down, but right before she's able to shoot him, Billy gets a couple of shots in, and like a fool, he gets just a little too close as she's cycling. And I think we forgot to mention that as all the members of the knot go down, they all cycle in just really horrific ways.
Everyone's in pain.
Yep. So she manages to croak out to Billy to kill himself.
Fucking hell. And her death is so fucking intense because her cycle, she's laughing. And she's like, not just any type of laughter, like fucking Crypt Keeper laughter. Like she is like going at it, just and then she just fucking just puffs. I'm like, this was fucking who is this? Like she's great. Like Emily Allen Lind is her name, and she is phenomenal. She was also in The Babysitter as well, if anyone is curious of like where she's from. But yeah, she was in The Babysitter as well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Billy has taken his top off And
fuck, it was so
it's so
heartbreaking.
sad. Yeah.
So heartbreaking. God damn it.
Yep. And Dan's a little broken by everything that has transpired. And immediately Abra's there. And she's like,
Right.
where's Crow? Crow Daddy's not here. And this is where she gets a nice little jab in the neck because he's at her house. And she disappears, and Dan's got no contact with her.
God damn it, man. Like,
Yep.
and this is when Dan's like, I gotta pull out all my tricks. Like,
yep. And Dave decides now, he's got to make a stand to protect his little girl. He's got, a chef's knife. And God. I'm glad that we don't see this, actually.
Me too. It's an off-screen kill.
Yeah, you just get Crow advancing on him, and then next thing you know, Crow's got Abra slung over his shoulder, and he's walking out, and you get that shot through the doorway of Dave's corpse on the floor. Yeah.
That was rough.
Yes. And she wakes up in the backseat of Crow's van, and we get that whole a lot of good people killed today conversation. And shout out to Zahn.
I love
what
him.
A great character actor. I need to watch that Dark
great.
Winds show. I've heard interesting things about it.
I haven't seen that one. I didn't. I don't think I've even heard of that. I think it was on
AMC. He plays like a sheriff or something.
Oh yeah. The one with Rainn Wilson, right?
I don't know who all's in it, but I've been meaning to check it out.
Yeah, I know he's in Reservation Dogs as well.
Is he?
I love that fucking show. That show's great.
I gotta check it out. But they have their little back and forth, and she's all drugged up still, and this is where Dan gets back to the stone house, and he finds Dave's body and the bottle of scotch, and he takes it with him, runs back to his place, and he doesn't know what to do. He's lost. He just lost his best friend. Abra's dad's dead. He's probably got his fingerprints everywhere in that house. And he doesn't know what to do to find Abra, and he pops open that bottle, and it's just so heartbreaking when he nearly takes a drink, but he manages to stop himself, smashes it on the floor. And he's like, okay, you said that your mom, called your mind like a radio that could pick up all sorts of different signals. Well, let's send out some signals. And when he finally tunes in with her, we get that fun tilt of the room, and he falls down to the
and he
blackboard.
Falls back. Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah,
I
world
love that.
Tilts.
Yes, turn world.
Yep. So Dan offers to take control, and she accepts, and it's so great because we get Abra playing Dan.
Yes, it's so great, and we don't get a great look at it, but like her eyes are blue as well to showcase that Dan's in her body, and it's fucking great. It's fucking great.
Yep.
Holy shit! And I love Crow in this movie. It's like, well, who are you? Like,
and it's so good.
I'm the one that killed your friends.
Yep. Oh, she's just needling him, and talking about how she's just provoking him like crazy. And hey, it's arrogance, really, that you think I'm all drugged up in the back seat, and you think you're just fine, so it makes sense that you wouldn't be wearing your seatbelt. And this is where she does her magic trick, or Dan does rather. Rips the wheel over and takes him right into a tree, and he goes through that windshield.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Definitely one of the most painful cycles that it looks like, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that, his screams, and oh man, it was great.
Yeah.
Grandpa
and
Flick
Rose
had a great
again,
cycle too, but yeah.
Yeah, Rose again realizing that her last connection of the knot is dying here.
Her complete knot is completely untethered at this point, so like the knot is cut.
Yep, she is a strand at this point. Yes, and Abra creeps up on him, kind of kneels down and says, "I hope that hurts a
Mhm.
lot."
Yes.
And then he's gone. And she's just walking down this lonely stretch of road, and she pauses when she sees Rose just standing, just on fire in her path. And
Yep.
she gets a little closer. Rose is like, "You little bitch, what have you done?" And then
Yeah.
Aber realizes, "Oh, I can see through her," and just
Right.
totally defiant
It just
walks right
walks right
through.
through. Oh my god. Amazing. No, just the fact that she knew that like, oh, something's off. Like, wait, she's fucking weak right now. And
Mm-hmm.
just walks right through her like
Yep.
nothing. Oh my
Well,
god, I love it.
that just antagonizes Rose because mad as fuck, she opens up all of the remaining
All the
canisters,
remaining canisters.
ingests all the steam, and she gets all charged up for the final battle. And her hand is healed in the process, which
Hmm.
is cool.
It was cool.
Uh, Dan picks up Abra from outside of a seedy looking motel. And you got, basically the Shining score overlaid with the heartbeat again as this happens.
Oh, great.
And this is where you notice that, oh, she's got her headphones in her cell phone that apparently she took with her when she was kidnapped.
That
Because
was a
I
little,
don't know how else.
yeah, that was definitely a little bit of a plot hole for sure. But
Yeah.
um
But I don't mind it because, in a little bit, we get a fun little thing.
right.
So Dan explains to her that they're heading to the Overlook as, Rose is following them and they need all the help that they can get.
Hmm.
And he apologizes to her about her father. She says she's sorry about Billy, and they share a little bit of a moment of resolve, and they are ready to fuck Rose up.
Yes.
They are
Yes.
ready for their final stand.
Let's fucking
And
go.
yep, Aber's mom is calling, and I guess this is the whole reason that we have plot hole cell phone because, yeah, she answers the phone at first, not wanting to, but she
Yeah,
answers the
she's like, "What
phone.
do I say?" Like, and he's
Yeah,
like,
she
"Oh my
answers the phone to a
god."
freaked out Lucy standing outside the crime scene of her husband's murder, and she tells her mom that she loves her, hangs up, and gets Dan to
And chucks the
promise.
phone.
Yeah, she gets him to promise that he'll call her mother when it's all over, and then just drops the phone.
Mm-hmm. Throws it out the window. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Wait. I don't have your mom's number. Like, do you know
Yeah.
this?"
I hope you're still alive so you can tell me. But yeah, they move on and they gas up one last time in probably Sidewinder there. And I don't know, is that the gas station where Halloran stops by to get his snowcat? I'm curious.
I've always thought that, and that was one thing that I meant to ask Mike Flanagan about, because I was just so fucking nervous that I forgot that was one of my questions I wanted to ask him. Because I've always thought that, but I have no idea, and it's not confirmed anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of my favorite bits of the score here because the
Oh,
Newton brothers deliver this super, super sinister take on
herb.
the main theme. It's the track on the soundtrack is titled "The Overlook," but it is so when you play this at home, you have to have like the bass really cranked on your TV,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's so good. And you get this recreation of the helicopter shots from the original film, but
Yes.
this time it's in the dark. You know, I, I
So
have
great.
I have written here, as Ferris Bueller says, it is so choice. Um, yes, we are at chapter
Great
6. What
quote.
was forgotten? So they get up to the hotel, and Dan tells Aber to wait in the car and to watch for Rose, asking her to send him a psychic blast when she sees any sign. She's like, "Wait a minute. What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I got to go wake up the hotel." But I don't want you in there any more than you absolutely have to be. But we'll go in together when Rose gets here.
Hmm.
Yeah. He
Fuck.
walks in and he's like, "Wakey, wakey." And I love that wherever he goes, the lights come
Mhm.
on because he is that 1,000,000-watt battery that Dick
Yep.
described powering this hotel. And yeah, this is where we get some fun book stuff
Yeah.
from The Shining, because one of his first visits is the boiler, which he
Yes.
needs to get started back up again. Because if you remember from The Shining,
Got to keep
the
that boiler
boiler,
running.
yeah, and well, you got to keep an eye on it too, because she
Yep.
creeps.
That's right. That's
Meaning
right.
that the pressure builds to a
Mhm.
dangerous state, and you do have to let off the pressure from time to time.
That's right.
Um,
Which
so
was so funny in The Shining because like fucking Jack didn't do that shit. It was always
yeah,
his
there's
wife.
one scene of Wendy in the movie doing it, but you're absolutely right. In the book, he's busy tearing through old newspaper articles
Right.
and shit in the book, and he's chomping on Excedrin, which I always found really disgusting.
Oh my
But
god.
I specifically remember that from the book, and she's always the one with the clipboard keeping
Yep.
tabs on the boiler.
Yep.
Um, so
So funny. So
nice
funny.
shout out to the original novel.
Oh my god.
And then Dan just wanders through the hotel, getting it to come back to life, and we see all the interesting sights. And he comes across his old apartment, and he
We
looks
also
through
see
the.
the Oculus mirror as
Oh
well.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
See
yes.
the Oculus
Very,
mirror hanging out right on the wall
yep,
as he walks
very
by.
necessary in a Flanagan film.
100%.
Yeah. I love in his new TikToks that it's right behind him on the wall.
Yeah, it's just right
Because
there, and I'm just like,
of
Jesus fucking
course it
Christ!
is.
It's like
Thanks for that,
it's
Mike.
magnificent. It's magnificent. Like he's so fucking cool to me. Like it's god damn it, dude. Fuck.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. So he
ah,
finds his old apartment, and he looks through the hole in the bathroom door that his father chopped,
yep.
and you get that little
Just as they left
flash
it.
you get that flash of Wendy freaking out as the door is being broken down.
Fuck,
Um,
man. Alex is so
yeah,
wow. Wow.
yeah, just again, perfect recreation of Shelley
Perfect.
Duvall.
Perfect.
You couldn't get any better. Um, so, and again, some of the things that he's seeing as he's going through the hotel, I don't think are actually there. I think it's the hotel projecting, because I
Right.
seriously don't think that this place was shuttered exactly as it was found come spring
Yeah,
when they
no way.
investigated things after all this, because I
Yeah.
really doubt in the Colorado lounge, there still was the table with the typewriter and the overturned
Right.
chair.
Right. Yeah, no. Definitely
No.
showcasing his memory for sure.
Yes. But yeah, he wanders on through, and this is where we come up to the gold room, and he sees an empty old fashioned sitting there on the bar, and he grabs a
Guess
seat,
as he likes it.
and yep. Yep. He grabs a seat, and he finds his father, going by Lloyd now, tending the bar, and he offers him a pour on the house. And oh, God, this conversation. Jack Daniels was his father's brand of choice. He used to see the bottles all around the house. He smelled one once, and it smelled like fire, which he supposed it was. Um, yeah.
Fucking hell.
And I love how Jack, now as Lloyd, uh, just continually denies that he is his father, that he
Yep.
has any
He's
relation
like, you
with him,
must
because
be mistaken, sir.
yes, he is very much just a part of the hotel now.
Yes.
Jack Torrance is gone.
He's gone.
Um, but yeah, he tries to tell his father about his life after everything.
Hmm.
But he's just Lloyd's not playing along. He admits to using The Shining to mess with his mother's mind. And this is where we go back to the scene where she's thinking about Jack and having
Hmm.
a hard time looking at Danny. And
Right.
he uses
Change
his
his eyes
shine to
color.
stop her
Right.
from reliving all this stuff.
Yeah.
And wow,
Even like
that's
going so
heartbreaking.
far to even change his eye color as well, which is not in the theatrical cut. Like that's in just the director's cut. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's heartbreaking.
yeah. It's also kind of terrifying that he would do that to his mother, and
Yeah.
I understand because he felt like he was doing her a solid, but also, you're messing with your mom's mind, dude.
Right. Yeah. You're
And-
taking away that piece of humanity that she deserves to have.
yeah.
So
And then he talks about how, she died when he was 20. I'm assuming lung cancer because she was a chain smoker.
right, she was a chain smoker. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But this is where we really hear about the death flies that he
Yes.
sees around people that are dying, and how her face was covered with flies at the end, where he could barely see her eyes. He couldn't look at her in her dying days the way she couldn't look at him. And now I'm not crying, you're crying. So again, Lloyd's pushing the booze on him, and we finally get to so tell me, pup, are you going to take your medicine?
Yes.
And Dan's like, no. Smack. Just
it.
knocks that whiskey away. And he's like, oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Torrance. Let's go get you cleaned up. Fuck me.
Love this.
The men's room of the gold room. Definitely an inspiration for the bathrooms at Twin Peaks High. Just saying.
Oh, that's so fair.
Big time.
Yes. 100%.
But he's tidying up Danny, and he says the stupid AA line of "you accept the things you cannot change." So yeah, you went there, Lloyd. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But they're all saved by the bell because Abra's like, "Hey, she's here," and Dan comes running out, and they hold hands as they go back inside, and she's like, "This place is sick. It's cancer, only worse.
Cancerous. Yeah.
Yeah." And Dan finds an axe on the wall, and they kind of fade away from that
fashion.
Yep. It's like my father before me. And Rose enters the Overlook, and she's got this look on her face like this is a place of wonder. This is just
she was like, this is magic, and she's just roaming the halls. Just like if she wasn't there for a mission, she would have fucking loved to have spent time in there and just relived all the pain that all these people experienced in here.
Yeah, she would have absolutely fed off of it if she could. And this is where she walks by the elevators and finds a perfect recreation of the blood scene, complete with aged walls, and I'm in heaven.
Yes.
I love how this plays out. It's just a perfect recreation. And they get to the Colorado Lounge, and again, like I mentioned, you've got the big table with the typewriter and the overturned chairs and everything. And well. Hi there.
Oh, so goddamn good.
Yeah, and we get Abra throwing a line back at her like, "Yeah, we'll see who does the screaming." And they're chatting back and forth. Super antagonistic. Yep. And she says, finally, she's like, she has this "who the fuck are you" moment with Dan, and she's like, "I'm sorry, who are you, handsome?"
Right.
And this is where she starts kind of creeping forward just a little bit more. And Dan's like, "Now." And they tag team her. And all of a sudden she finds herself in the hedge maze, and she's chasing Abra. And when she finally confronts her, the slashes with Rose's knife are just exquisite.
Oh my God.
Abra gets 3 good hits in there. And then Rose finally catches her by the throat and doesn't quite see the box sneaking up behind her. Now, during all of this, Rose thinks that she's inside Abra's mind.
That's right.
Nope. She's in Dan's, and the box almost gets her, but Rose just bursts out, destroying the box and getting back to reality. Yeah. And throws Abra and Dan back on the stairs. Yeah. And Dan's like, "Hey, get out of here." So Abra tears off, and Rose starts to advance on him in a very familiar fashion, right? This is like a shot for shot recreation of Jack advancing on Wendy.
Trying to swing, not swinging at anything, just trying to ward off as best as possible. Fucking great.
Yep.
It's fucking
And I'm
great.
just
That
drinking
damn Mac
all
should have
this
been
up.
upside down for all we cared. Like this
It
was
could have
great.
been a bat. Yeah. Yep. And she's like, how the hell did we miss you? And it's so good. And what is it? She says, sweetie, I'm not the last. After he's like, yeah, he's fucking with her. Like,
Like
hey,
we
you're the
killed all
last of your
people. Yeah,
kind.
you're the
They're all
last one.
dead
Yep.
now. Yep. And she's, sweetie, I'm not the last. Far from it. I'm just the
I'm
prettiest.
Fucking hell, what a line.
Yeah.
What a line.
And boy, Dan's got his, what does she say? So we're going to do this or what? And Dan's got his father's swing with the camera motion and everything. It's perfect. And she manages to stop it just enough that it only goes into her shoulder, but she's able to get it out of his hands, pop him a couple of times, jab it into his leg, and send him flying down the stairs. The sound he makes when he hits the balusters at the bottom.
Yeah, that was like a ding throughout the whole hotel. Like, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that was definitely a brutal fall.
Yep. And let's see here. So yes, they have tussled, and she's like, oh, well, looks like I nicked your femoral artery there. You're probably going to start bleeding out. But in the meantime, she starts to harvest steam from him.
Yes.
And as she's just jabbing her thumb into the wound in his leg.
And it tastes like whiskey.
Yes. Oh, I love that line. And
oh my God.
Yep. As she continues to jab her thumb into that wound. And this is where her drawing his steam, she's starting to see into his mind a little bit. And she's like, oh, what's in those boxes? And he's like, yeah, they're starving. And he lets them all out. All these old ghosts.
Fucking hell.
Swarm her and tear her to pieces. One of them's got his hand inside her face.
God. Jesus Christ.
And she cycles and they drink her up. And then they notice Dan. Hello, Danny. Come play with us forever. Ever.
Oh my God. Effortless.
And they're all over him. And we're back to Abra, and she's like trying to get through the hotel. And of course, it's like a maze, right? And she comes across the Grady twins, and then she backs up a little bit from them. And around the corner comes a possessed Dan, and she runs.
Yes.
He's given pursuit.
There's a lot of people. This is where the movie came for a lot of people, where there's like they fell out of it, and I fucking love this stuff. I don't like it makes so much sense. This is the most beautiful callback portion to The Shining, and a lot of people felt like, oh, this was all fan service. Where it's like, well, yeah, no fucking shit, but at the same time,
it's good fan service.
It's great fan service, and at the same time, like the whole movie for 2.5 hours wasn't The Shining. Like it barely like scratched it. And you're upset for this last 20 30-minute sequence to be about The Shining. Come on. Like, come on.
Just enjoy the movie.
Yeah, like that to me that's such a cop-out answer as to why people don't like this movie. Like it's just I put a tweet up probably about a year ago where I said that like no matter what people say about Dr. Sleep, they can never convince me that it's a bad movie. And there were all these comments of people trying to convince me that it's a bad movie. And they're like, even if it has all these plot holes and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, but that's the thing. Like, that isn't a plot hole. Like that, like, you know, it would be all these just very minutia comments. Like there was actually this podcast that I was listening to about their Dr. Sleep episode, and I had to turn it off midway because I was just getting too frustrated. But I'm not gonna name their names because I don't want to, like, you know.
That's fine.
But they had, when they were talking about it, they had this whole thing of why they didn't like it, and And I was just like, fuck, dude, like I don't see it. I don't fucking see it. I don't understand why, like, I don't get it. I don't see how you cannot like this movie.
I think it's people that
But
don't know how to have fun. Maybe I'm just
maybe,
saying.
maybe like it's just that's the only thing I can think of because this movie is just beat for beat so much fucking fun. It is such a fast paced movie for being 3 hours.
Yes,
It is such
absolutely.
a fast paced fucking movie. There is not a slow moment in this movie to me. God damn. Even the monologues. The monologues are extremely palatable.
Yeah, they're
And
pretty
like they
quick
are
in this compared to other Flanagan
Midnight
properties
Mass
too.
in
Yeah, oh
Bly
yeah.
Manor. Like Midnight Mass and Bly Manor, like if you really want monolithic monologues, that's where you'll go for sure. Because
Yeah,
the Doctor Sleep monologues I feel like are very
they're
short.
quick.
Maybe 3 minutes to 4 minutes max. Like,
Yeah.
come on. If that, like, like you're not sitting through an 8 minute long monologue like fucking Pearl or something, which Pearl had a fantastic monologue. I love
Oh,
that
it's great.
monologue.
Yeah.
But still, like you're not sitting through that. But it's just I don't know. Fucking I just don't get it. Fucking people. That's all I gotta
You
say.
need to get more joy out of life, people.
Yes.
So yeah, Abra at this point has taken refuge in room 237. And the bathtub lady says
As one
hello.
does.
Yes, as one does, because that's the best place in the hotel. Yes. Bathtub lady says hello, but Dan gets to her first. And he's, standing there menacing over her with the axe. And she's like, hey, you know,
Trying to bring him back as much as possible.
as much as she can. But she's like, hey, Dan Torrance made one stop when he got here to the
That's
boiler
right.
room. And I'm thinking to myself, and she creeps. And
Mm-hmm.
either he stops himself as he's swinging the axe at her, or she stops him
Yeah,
just
it's hard to
before.
tell.
Yeah, but he comes back for one last conversation between the two of them. And
Mhm.
he's like, hey, you got to get out of here. And she's like, no, you're coming too, right? And he's all, hey, somebody has to close the door behind them.
Mhm.
And he's like, now run, because he can tell he can't hold it back any longer. And soon as she gets out of the room, you see him change again. You can always tell he's changed because one of his eyes is all
One of his
milky
eyes.
white.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. So let's see here. Oh
Fucking
yeah.
great.
She runs. He goes down to the boiler room to either stop things or finish them. She makes it outside and she's like, come on, you got to get out of here. But instead, he just kneels in front of the boiler
Mhm.
and it starts rupturing and there's oil spreading everywhere and flames follow, basically trapping him in the room. And Wendy appears, comforting him one last time. And as the camera moves off of him and moves back, he's
So
become
she's still a
young
child.
5-year-old Danny again.
Oh man.
And Abra's just pleading for him to get out. And this whole building's going up in flames, and you've got fire trucks in the distance coming up the mountain, and she starts sort of narrating things at this point, it seems like, but then it becomes her talking to Dan in her bedroom. How the whole thing went up, and it's like the fire was purifying the space, and yeah, it's pretty clear he didn't make it very
Poetic
quickly.
justice. Oh my god! Like just hearing you like say that ending, it wraps up with a fucking bow. It
Yep,
wraps it up with a bow.
because
God.
that's how it ended in The Shining. And
Right.
again, this film is the perfect amalgamation of the Shining book, Shining movie, Doctor Sleep book, and tying it all together.
Mhm.
You couldn't ask for a better weaving of all the properties, because so many people have this love of the film The Shining, which I'm one
Mhm.
of them. I enjoy the hell out of
Yeah.
it. I watch
Love
it
The
pretty
Shining.
regularly, actually. But also, I love the book and how much more detail there is and how they go very different directions in some things. So it's
Yeah.
nice to see, sort of the best of both worlds cherry picked and brought together. Um, so yeah, she's having her final conversation with him there, and his spirit, he comforts her, and he's like, hey, I told you when we first met to keep your head down and not to shine, but shine on,
I know
Aberstone.
on
You shine
Aberstone.
on. And if that part didn't get you, her mother coming into the room and saying, hey, who you talking to? And she's like, nobody. And okay, well, come on down for dinner. And as they go out to the hallway, she's like, that's not true. I was talking to Dan. And, you know, her mom is clearly broken with the death of
Right.
her husband.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Probably wondering if she sees him too.
yeah. And her comment to her mom about how we go on after, that part is what
Yeah.
leaves me in tears.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
they, share kind of a knowing look. And she's like, well, you coming on down? And Amber's like, in a minute. And as she turns around, you see the old lady's in the bathtub. And
Fuck
she
yeah.
walks in there and shuts that door. And we get Midnight with the Stars and You and credits.
Yes. God damn, what a movie. What a
Holy
movie.
fuck. And it's not to say that the theatrical version is really any like tier below this or anything
I
by
love the
any
theatrical version.
means. It's
Yeah.
very, very good. It's just there's something just a little extra special about this director's cut.
100%.
Again, if you like any Flanagan miniseries, then that's very much a good reason to see the director's cut because
Highly
it
agree.
feels like a miniseries. It's so much fun.
Highly agree. Yeah, and if this is a project that you haven't seen yet,
Why have you listened to all of this?
Right, one, like you should have listened to all of this, but two, like you should watch this movie. You definitely should watch this movie, and you should experience it the way that we experience it. With that same compassion of just kind of going in and expecting this Mike Flanagan project to just be just that, a Mike Flanagan project to come out of the other end and be like, wow, like that was something even more special than I thought it would be. So yeah,
there are some just he's able to draw so amazing performances out of his actors, and again, having that regular stable. I mean, so many directors that do this, they are able to get wonderful performances out of people because they have this sort of shorthand with each other. And that's, keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep these people coming back. Need to see more Rahul. Need Rebecca Ferguson to come back. By all means, bring her back for something.
Yes.
Whether that's a film or whether that's one of the TV properties. But yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hell. This is obviously I'm always at a loss for words at the end of this movie. Like, goddamn, it's such a great movie.
Well, and I really appreciate being able to talk about this one with you because all evening getting ready for this, I've just been vibrating, just ready to talk about Dr. Sleep because it's essentially we've been talking about this movie together for 3 years, and this is the moment to do this big deep dive. And it's
very true,
dude. This was cool.
This was so much fun. I appreciate you for inviting me on.
Absolutely. There is no way anybody else would ever be on a Dr. Sleep episode, dude. You know that. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on. Prince, do you have any final thoughts on Dr. Sleep, the director's cut?
Man, besides the fact that I've obviously loved this movie and it is 100% always in my Flanagan rotation for sure, but the max that I could say is that this movie is beyond special. This movie is something that truly means a lot to me and something that I will forever find as an inspirational piece of like the pinnacle for me for a Flanagan project in general. Like it's very big shoes to me for this thing. Midnight Mass was fucking close. Hill House was even closer, but like it's just this movie for sure. It's just for me, just like how Hill House is for everyone, because I feel like everyone loves fucking Hill House. How Hill House is for everyone, and obviously Hill House is amazing. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
This is the Flanagan project that made me say, "Oh shit, oh shit." No, he needs to be in the same conversation as Jordan Peele, as Ari Aster, as Robert Eggers. Flanagan's name needs to be right next to them because his name, the amount of properties that he's created with his name is
Mhm.
fucking phenomenal, absolutely insane. And I've been a Flanagan fan since the beginning, since he first started in 2011 when I first saw his first film, his breakout film, being Absentia. And me starting there, like I felt like I started in a very unique place, but me starting there was very special to just see that growth and consistently seeing that growth, and then being able to speak with him was honestly a dream fucking come true.
You're a
But
lucky
like it,
man. It's a really good interview. It's so much fun.
thank you,
You two
thank
are
you.
clearly having a good time together too. So it's a great interview.
Thank you.
But yeah. Dr. Sleep, like you said, for all these people that are so high on Haunting of Hill House, but either
Yeah.
haven't seen Dr. Sleep or feel negatively about it, it doesn't make sense to me. It really
No,
doesn't.
doesn't make sense.
Um,
It doesn't make sense.
but yeah,
Watch and love this movie.
at least give it a fair shot. Come on.
Yeah. Seriously,
Yeah.
go on with
Or,
open mind.
or if for some reason you felt like the theatrical version just wasn't for you, I hate to recommend
Yeah.
a version that's half an hour longer, but if you're so in love with his miniseries,
Yeah.
give the director's cut a try just
agree.
from that standpoint and think about it like that.
Yep.
Just the chapter structure, works perfectly from that regard. So by all means,
I agree.
yeah, I really don't have anything right off the top of my head else to say about Dr. Sleep other than, oh my God, one of my favorite Stephen King adaptations for sure. But,
easily. Yeah.
Yes.
If like this is definitely up there for me. Misery's like definitely a close fucking second. But yeah,
Very good.
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Prince, thank you so much for hopping on. Like
course.
we talked about earlier, long time coming. Glad we can finally make it happen. Love to have you back again.
Yes.
And
This was
if you'd
so much
like,
fun.
well, thank you. Prince, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter and TikTok on @theheadnight. That's night with a K. You can also hear my voice on Nightlight, a horror movie podcast, also night with a K. Hang out with us in the Ghoulish Nights. Yeah, that's the main spots I'm at.
Very good. Very good. Well, this has been Murders with Mertens, a horror film podcast. Thank you so much for letting us tickle your ear holes. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are so inclined. I'll be back soon enough with another episode. But until next time, stay spoopy, everyone.